Live from Briny Beach, this is Derailed Trains of Thought.
Well, Tim, this is one of the more depressing beaches we've been on.
Well, maybe we just picked a bad day. I mean,
It's kind of cloudy.
Very cloudy, kind of chilly, honestly.
Yeah,
It's not a good day for the beach.
No, I don't know. I'd rather have those podcasts taken us somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know how it decided to do such
I've
things.
got sand all over me. It's just very unfortunate.
It is. I feel like nothing good can come from a place like this.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And no one else is really here. I mean, I think there might be a couple, I don't know, kids or something.
there's some kids
there.
down the
Yeah,
beach
they're
there.
skipping
I'm
stones
sure
or
they're going to have a much better day than we
They
will.
can make lemonade out of lemons. Yeah.
But welcome, folks, to your favorite podcast on storytelling. My name is Timothy Deal,
My name is Nick Hayden.
and we are here to talk about all matter of stories for the creator and the consumer. But before we get into the meat of things here, Nick, I need to ask you. So when I came over to your house earlier,
yeah.
before, so the podcast could spirit us away to
Which
this.
is, I still don't know how that works.
The
I'd like to
podcast
figure it out
is
someday.
the podcast is a strange will of its own. I'd love to meet it someday,
Yeah.
but I don't know. We just kind of go where it takes us. But as I was coming up, I found this on your front
Well-
porch.
Is that, what kind of fur is that?
I don't know. It's a weird stuffed animal that's like brown and furry and like a mix between a bear and a pig or something.
Yeah, it seems familiar, but I
But
don't
so
know.
it's not one of your kids.
No, I mean we have a lot of stuffed animals, but that is not one of them.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll just throw it out to the fishes.
Yeah,
So. Well, I
It
probably
wasn't
just
great to throw it. Into the
probably not. And probably the fish didn't appreciate that. But,
Probably not.
Better than throwing at those kids down there.
Yeah, they wouldn't appreciate that.
No, it was.
It would ruin their day.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, sorry didn't mean to get off on the sidetrack there.
We never do that.
We never do that at all. But for real now, let's go into our story school. Story School is where we talk about some topic that's on our minds because we planned it. But it's not necessarily, I think we mentioned this before, this is not our teaching segment. This is our exploration segment.
Well, we just kind of meander around, like, hey, what is this thing that we learned in English class, but now we want to make it real
So we want to explore how we've learned this story,
or observed it,
observed, yes, or used some topic from storytelling.
abused,
Abused, maybe.
beat down, tortured.
Hopefully not.
Okay, so anyways, Tim, what is our story school today?
We're going to be talking about foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing.
Which I'm sure we've talked about on the podcast in somewhere or another, possibly, and we talked about world building or outlining.
Mm-hmm.
But foreshadowing is a very useful tool in developing the world of your story, developing the plot, and just kind of giving the audience a clue onto where things might be going.
So yeah, that's going to be the definition we're running with, sort of like things that give a clue for what's going to happen.
Yeah. I do feel like there's some general world building stuff that could be interpreted as foreshadowing, but oftentimes that's the sort of thing where the audience doesn't really realize that you're foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
For instance,
It's like you're going back, and when you read it a second time, you're like,
oh, like Sixth Sense.
Yes.
Hopefully it's been 20 years now.
Yeah.
I knew the spoiler about it before I ever saw it, you know. So, but the first time people saw it, then they went back and rewatched it. They're like, "Oh, now I see how that makes." How you reinterpret all these scenes, and you don't really know that it was foreshadowing.
But I think it would still be foreshadowing, because I know some people who did catch it because of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who watched that scene and knew. I think Aaron Brosman, he or someone he knew watched that when he's
They figured.
Haley
out
Joel
the-
Osment talking to Bruce Willis,
yeah.
and saying like I see dead people and all that stuff, and
And he
they
took
knew
it
right
at face
then.
value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's foreshadowing, where that's how I would define foreshadowing, things that set up, especially in mysteries, and that's I would qualify a reveal that you want to reveal that makes sense with what came first. So you got to leave clues that foreshadowing that it's there. When you don't, I think the audience feel gypped.
Yeah. And we did a little bit of that in Children of the Wells because we had this thing. We knew that the world had changed, but we didn't want to reveal something about how it had changed.
Yeah.
And so we had to plant seeds of things, like little just miraculous events that the characters are like, well, that was weird, but there must have been some scientific explanation for it. Let's just go on with our day.
But it opens up for the audience the possibility, maybe these supernatural things happen in this world. Mm-hmm. That it's not outside the realm of where the story's going.
Yeah.
There's, I know every once in a while I can't think of a specific example, watch a show, and because they mention something in the beginning, it opens possibility for something that happens later on that you wouldn't need for the episode, but it's suddenly your brain suddenly changed because they opened up with a writer or with a...
Your brain accepts that as a possibility because they've mentioned it elsewhere, whereas if it just comes out of nowhere, you'd be like, wait, that's not my understanding of this world that you're creating in the story.
Yeah. And it's very clever when people do it. You can just... It'll seem like a throwaway thing, and it's restructuring your world. Mm-hmm. And I think... I want to go back to it. You feel like gypped if you don't do this. Okay, my one pet peeves, I used to rant about Battlestar Galactica quite a bit on this podcast. But one of my big pet peeves when they revealed like the last 3 Cylons, there were 3 our main characters, and there was absolutely, from my memory, absolutely no setup. It's just like they just were, and they didn't know it, and the audience didn't know, and I don't think you could have gone back and found clues. It was just, look how shocking it is. And I'm like, you could have pulled anything out of your hat. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, which maybe was a choice on their part on purpose, but to me felt like a cheat.
Mm-hmm. So that's in some ways a different kind of foreshadowing than the reason why I was qualifying that is because we looked on Wikipedia, which, anyone can write in Wikipedia, but usually there's some literary people that will police the literary stuff. And like I said, this is not a lecturing thing. This is just kind of us talking about stuff, and we generally tend to like blur the lines.
We tend to be a little broader than the technical terms.
Yeah, like combining monologues and
soliloquies.
They're all kind of the same thing. Not really, if you want to be precise, but it's all about similar ideas.
Like squares and rectangles, all quadrilaterals. So.
Sure. But like if you look at foreshadowing on Wikipedia, they talk about foreshadowing as something that is specifically cluing the audience in on something, giving them a hint of something that they know will happen, which sometimes you do want that. Sometimes you do want audience to know that what you're doing is foreshadowing.
Yeah.
And other times I think what we've been talking about so far is the sneaky kind.
The sneaky kind.
They don't know that you're foreshadowing.
It's basically there so that later on they can't call foul.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are 2 different types.
So the ones that kind of set up, foreshadowing thing is interesting. I'm going to be big picture philosophical real quick, and then we'll go into details.
Okay.
Because most literary things that most people say you should put foreshadowing to be a more literary book. Most things that are kind of higher brow have fancy symbolic foreshadowing, like the weather or they almost died, or like this event happened and then it gets echoed over here. And I think it's artistic because it shows that there's control from the author, that the author knows what he's doing.
Okay.
I just think that's interesting, and that what's more important when you foreshadow is not what's going to happen, because in theory, but how does it happen? Sometimes you can be like, he's going to die, Romeo, Juliet, star-crossed lover, there's going to be death.
Star-crossed lovers?
Star-crossed lovers?
Yeah, it sounded like star-crossed lover.
Or... Can't sing with all these marbles in my mouth.
But yeah, we have a general idea of where the story is going.
But you're but how?
Yeah.
And even from ancient days, you had fate, you had, in Greek myths. I think it's interesting that we think a story's better when the author knows how it ends. And just theologically, people who believe in, a theistic God who has control, providence, believes things make more sense or more structured because someone knows where it's going versus being random. We don't watch a random show where nothing's foreshadowed at all and say, that's good planning.
That's an interesting point. Even though, I think there is some interesting things that can happen when an author is kind of coming up with things as they go along.
Hey, I love serialized stuff too, so I'm not necessarily against that as a writing style.
Yeah. But there is a general like of that format. I can totally see that being kind of a philosophical reason, and it's much more reassuring that people feel like they know. People feel like they can trust the author and where the creators are going if they could see the seeds of what's taking place. I mean, if you listen to us on the Weekly Hijack, we're talking about how well he's setting up the foreshadowing.
J. Michael Straczynski in Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Because that I mean, the whole first season is basically foreshadowing.
It's
that's
called
basically all it is.
The first season's subtitle is Signs and Portents, and it's all over the place. It's tons of setting up. Well, I mean, that's probably because of Babylon 5's 5-act season structure, where the first season is supposed to be the foundation to establishing all the characters.
He doesn't just establish, though. He also says, like, hey, these things go, we have dreams and prophecies. And episode 1, we learn how Londo dies.
Yeah.
I mean,
and at that time, when you first see that episode, you may not know that that's actually the way it's going to wind up being. It's like, oh, it's just a dream. It could be, dreams could mean anything.
Yeah.
So later you find out, no, in Babylon 5, dreams always mean something important. And something specific.
There's many times in Babylon 5 where you'll know where it's going, but you don't know how we get there. You're like, if you go to Zahadum, you will die.
But what does that mean?
But what does that mean? Or even in season 5 right now, we know the Centauri are behind all these attacks.
Well, we're recording season 5 right now.
No, I know, but they said.
I'm just saying that the release schedule is on season 4.
That's true. Sorry, we'll back that up.
But go ahead.
But there's many times where we'll be given very straight up Garibaldi. Someone will tell him, "Watch your back, Garibaldi," and then he gets shot in the back. I mean, it happens all over. That's all he does. We have it's all over the place. That's how he runs, and it's not about the twist that I didn't see coming. It's about how do we get there, which is a different style than we have in some TV.
Yeah, you don't get the prophecy dream. I think we're getting into types of examples here.
So prophecy dream.
Yeah, that's not something that comes up in a lot of things.
Genre uses the prophecy dreams a lot as the setup. I mean, any Greek thing, you got fate or prophecies saying, hey, you're going to go marry your mother and kill your father. That's foreshadowing.
My son is going to kill me and take the throne, so I must go kill him first or get rid of him somehow. Yeah.
Or we read the book called Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And it's basically everything that happens like, well, this prophecy says this is going to happen. Well, should we better do it? Which I called a little bit of foul on that. But again, the whole book's structured as foreshadowed.
Right. It's the prophecy that's a little too specific, more than actual prophecies usually are.
Or in the more mystical, like your 80s fantasy or action movie, even like you have these dreams that are usually involving some nature things like something's coming and then it becomes true, or that's how they become fill in the blank. Sometimes foreshadow is like in your prologue, your flashback. Movies do this all the time where like the first 5 minutes is like the main character is a little kid and like all they love to do is like hunt frogs or plan weddings or whatever. And then they grow up and like, oh, that's what they're going to do.
So you're talking about the before you've actually seen the character grown up, you see them first as a kid. So that is kind of a foreshadowing. Actually, Shazam starts off like this, except interestingly enough, Shazam does that as the villain motivation.
Oh, really?
Like the opening scene is about like a kid and how he gets kind of taken to the spiritual realm and judged to see if he's worthy of the powers, and then the wizard's like, Nope, you're not the right person for this. Bye. And he sends him back. And so basically it becomes kind of a villain's journey because he's like, no, I saw that. I want that power. And so now he's going off to get it. So it's an interesting kind of reversal of kind of the hero's calling thing. But it's foreshadowing what drove the villain to become a villain, essentially.
I mean, it's like Syndrome in Incredibles.
That's true.
That whole thing is set up foreshadowing. Okay, something's going to go wrong with this kid here. What is it?
Yeah, good point.
Again, that's not like long setup mystery foreshadowing. It's just sort of
this is the foundation for the story that we're getting to.
It's a narrative drive for the audience. Like, oh wait, there's something here that's going to happen. What is it? Let's keep reading.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good hook.
Weather or setting. A lot of times, say you're on a depressing beach. It might say something about, is this going to be a depressing book?
Or
a storm's coming.
Yeah, storm's coming. When you put that in the notes, I immediately thought of Gandalf and Legolas looking out towards the horizon and storm coming towards in the direction of Gondor.
Yeah. As soon as a storm shows up in a movie, you're like, something bad is going to happen.
Yeah. And maybe, I guess we're talking about weather specifically, so it's usually a storm.
Yeah, normally.
You don't normally say, oh, look how bright and sunny it's going to be.
Yeah, not normally.
That's more like the end of the story.
Yeah. Unless you have these shows where like someone will have these dreams of peaceful living, and then their life's all like chaotic, and finally at the end they finally get to go live that peaceful life. Like Generations, I guess. Star Trek Generations.
The movie?
No, not really. I just remember nothing good about that movie.
I never saw it because I heard bad things about it.
Yeah, well, that's fine. No problem.
Nothing lost.
Now, apparently, I made this note about the object, about like Chekhov's gun, and then we were doing some research. Chekhov's gun apparently is not foreshadowing in a technical sense.
Most people refer to it as foreshadowing, but apparently the point of Chekhov's gun, again, we're running off Wikipedia, and it's got some links to people here talking about it. They're saying that, so if you don't know what Chekhov's gun is, Anton Chekhov, I think we have mentioned this before, episode 21, I want to say.
Wow.
I just remember...
Foreshadowing for this episode.
I just remember because we talked, that was an episode where John Baylor was our guest, and we talked some about Chekhov's gun. I remember in that one. Anyway, the idea being that if a play or a story has a rifle on the wall in the first chapter, first act, and there's a lot of the story in that play, then in that room, then that gun has to be used eventually.
At some point. It's not just decoration in Chekhov's idea that if it's there in the setting, it's got to be important. Mm-hmm. Again, technically then it's not foreshadowing according to him or these people, because foreshadowing is implying what might happen, not
what will happen.
Which I'm not
sure if I can completely buy, because in my perspective, just having a character having a gun doesn't mean that gun's necessarily going to get used.
Yeah.
I mean, it hints that it will, but it doesn't mean that it will. I mean, I guess the idea is that if it doesn't get used, you wouldn't put it in the scene in the first place.
That's to me splitting hairs, but
yeah,
at least for our purposes.
Right.
So anyways, like the object, normally like if, say, James Bond gets some sort of cool gadget, you're going to wonder, when is that going to be used?
Because of course it's going to be. You would show off a cool gadget if you couldn't use it.
How cool would it be if you... And I'm sure some movie does this, where you get like some crazy powerful weapon and it never gets used. That would be great. A lot of people would probably be mad, but I think it'd be cool foreshadowing, because people keep expecting it. It would end up being a red herring.
Right.
Which is like the opposite of a foreshadow.
I guess you could clarify. Usually when James Bond goes to meet Q, it's not uncommon for them to be like testing out other gadgets in their lab, ones that he doesn't necessarily take with him, like a flame-proof trench coat or something. Yeah. But usually, like, he specifically says, okay, this is the stuff we're working on, but then this is what I'm giving you for your mission. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's what he's going to wind up using. I know, pedantic, but someone might call us out on it otherwise.
Earlier events, like sometimes you have an event happen that foreshadows a bigger version of the same thing. This actually happens in Strid and Fred. In the first Strid and Fred book, those are novels I'm still writing.
Yeah.
In the first book, there's this long story about this historical event of Leela and Rutsu, about this war and everything. There's kind of a traditional story sense, these three challenges. First, like a dragon, then it's this sickness, and then something. And basically, it outlines the entire rest of the novels.
The series.
Yeah.
Which is kind of clever, because I don't know how well I picked up that the first time. I realized it the second time, because like, wait, first book they beat a monster, and then they have to deal with the sickness. And I mean, when I read that knowing that they were going to have to deal with the sickness, and I was like, oh, I see. And Leela and Rutsu is also super important for the culture of that setting.
Exactly. So it plays a lot of duties, that chapter. Well, then even actually, first chapter of Squire does this too. The king does this speech, and he talks about the bandits and and the wizards, and basically everything he mentions shows up at some point. Yeah,
it sounds like it's just colorful, because you have a lot of colorful imagery that's just for world building in that first chapter, and a reader might assume that's just part of it, but no, you wind up tying into all of this and very important legend in the course of your story about a very ordinary squire,
which apparently is something I did a lot back when I was writing those two books. I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
I wouldn't say there's a whole lot of common ground between Strid and Fred and the Unremarkable Squire, but there is that. So that's kind of cool.
Well, now you get it sometimes you got Bilbo in the ring, and then it foreshadows Frodo in the ring.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, I guess
Gandalf actually says kind of like it might be even more important than, in after Tolkien rewrote Hobbit.
I mean, I guess
to make it foreshadow.
Right. And I guess some of what you were talking about earlier with like where you start farther back in time, the prologue, some of that is sort of like this, the earlier event.
Well, that's true.
Even if it's not necessarily the same character that we're talking about, it could be the character's father when he was a kid, and he fell into the similar habits, and then like
true.
later on it gets repeated.
Well, yeah,
down the road.
family sort of foreshadow, like this is what mine did, or this what, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or to bring Babylon 5 up again, Garibaldi used to be a drunk. Then it's foreshadowing, is this going to happen again? I stole this one example from some other blog, but Mice and Men. I had read that long ago, but I didn't remember. But George has to put down this dog, or said he should have put down the dog himself, and then later on he puts down Lenny. Have you read Mice and Men?
I have not, actually.
Okay, horribly depressing, but that's most Steinbeck from what I've read. And I haven't read a lot, but I read The Pearl, which was depressing.
Sidetrack, but do you think was Steinbeck Christian, or what sort of worldview did he come from?
I don't know. I would have to reread outside my middle school self, because most of my memory of Mice and Men is filtered through my 8th grade self.
Oh, okay.
So
sure.
Like they had like, oh, the building was this long dark building, and said, oh, it's symbolic of a coffin. I'm like, what? I mean, like there's certain things that I thought were English teachers pulling too much. Maybe it was supposed to be there, but I was like, I don't know. Back then.
Yeah. I was just curious because it's not one that I read in my school days. So I think I'd always, and since it tends to be so lauded, I think I've always just kind of assumed it was more of a non-Christian perspective, but I really don't know.
I didn't cut this out, but I've heard that like Grapes of Wrath has Christian themes, but it tends to be the more depressing side, not the more redemptive.
Okay. Anyway.
And then sometimes innocuous statement, the whole like, they'll say it straight out. I don't know. The idea here, there's this great episode, season 5 of Lost, where it's called Dead is Dead. And they talk about, no, when you're dead, you're dead. And Locke just came back from the dead. Except he hadn't.
Right.
I mean, they say straight up like 3 times that episode. And we're just like, no, this is Locke.
No, he's clear. This is clearly Locke. And it's not Locke.
Yeah. Or sometimes you just name drop stuff, like you name drop the big baddie that you haven't seen yet,
People have no idea what that is, and like
you're like, oh, that must be something coming up.
Yeah, but you may not just oh, that was interesting, but you have no idea of the full significance of that until way later.
Bad Wolf.
Yeah, Bad Wolf.
Or Torchwood, or the first 3 seasons of Doctor Who, basically.
Yep.
I think the last one I had is just kind of, the narrator said it direct. Like, little did he know that this was going to happen.
It appeared to be a wonderful day. It was not.
Exactly. I mean, which is foreshadowing. We know that something's bad going to happen.
Yeah, basically.
Don't read this book. It's full of unfortunate events. So,
hey, he warned you.
You can't blame him.
Yeah.
So, I thought those were foreshadowing something I think happens all the time, and we just kind of know it, but it's been a while. We have never talked about it directly.
I think it's probably come up as a side tangent, but that's one of the fun things about story schools and doing podcasts for 98 episodes now. Sometimes you can and it's been long enough probably since we talked about it, that it's interesting to think about all the different flavors that foreshadowing can take.
And I think for the consumer, it shows up a lot more in plays and books than in TV. I think TV, because it's written so in the moment,
right?
Most TV does not have great foreshadowing. Individual episodes might, but not across episodes.
Or maybe
normally,
or maybe within a season.
You could do it seasonal.
Like Once Upon a Time could do that, because Once Upon a Time you usually had a very specific idea what they were trying to do in a certain season.
And they would name drop the bad guy that we know is coming up, or
right, exactly.
And sometimes they would not foreshadow, oh, we just need this random thing. You're like, oh, if you had just kind of warned us that we need squid ink again.
Yeah. But usually it's more like we include all kinds of ideas in an episode, and then one of them will really interest the writers, and they'll delve more into that. That tends to be more how TV shows work.
And I think serial, right, Strin and Fred largely serialized still in my brain, where I'll vaguely outline it, then I'll just go with it. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, in foreshadowing, normally you set it up because you know what's going to happen, but there's kind of reverse foreshadowing where something happened, you're like, oh, I'm going to take that and do something with it.
Do you ever go back and add, something wound up being a big deal later, so you go back and add more foreshadowing?
I probably should more than I do.
But not so much, not so far in Strin and Fred yet.
Book 3's been more of that trying to happen just because 3's a monster.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Newell's Rising was an interesting challenge as a foreshadowing exercise, because I knew what I wanted to have revealed at the end of that book, but the reader didn't know it. So I always felt like I was writing a mystery that no one realized was a mystery until toward the end.
Which that idea of mystery, I think, is interesting because there's so many. I mean, there's straight mystery everyone gets, but there's a narrative style that's pretty strong now where it's the unwinding of revelations that we don't know are there yet. Mm-hmm. A lot of genre things do that.
That's true.
Like, I mean, the Infinity Stones were basically a mystery that hardcore people followed, but
yeah. But there wasn't necessarily a lot of info about them.
No, but everyone's like, oh, wait, this is, it's...
There's that one. People wanted to follow the trail.
Ever since they saw Thanos in the end of Avengers, then everything's like, people try to find foreshadowing.
That's true.
Whether it was actually there or not.
Fan theories are all about that kind of thing.
I think that's an interesting thing that, in this world of very hyper fans, that everything is foreshadowing now.
And sometimes that's part of the fun. Like when one of the trailers for Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, it showed Sora in this like really ethereal area where there was just like clouds and white pillars and stuff. And people realized that the Japanese only box art for the final mix version of Kingdom Hearts 2 had Sora and his friends in that setting. And they're like, the Kingdom Hearts 2 box art is foreshadowing for Kingdom Hearts 3. And it's like, well, not really.
Well, like people take, they'll take a trailer like, here's the 27 things we learned about the movie from this trailer. And they're like, guys, some things are just story.
Or just ideas that a creator has always had in the back of his head and finally got around to like, oh, here's a visual image I've always wanted to play with.
So I suppose if you're too general, foreshadowing can kind of start encompassing just plot.
I suppose so, yeah. And they don't really work that way.
No, I mean, yeah, it's stuff that's very specifically there on purpose to help set up future events. Mm-hmm. Which, again, shows that you know what you're doing.
Or don't.
Or don't know what you're doing, yeah. And then the opposite we won't talk about much is the red herring, which is basically you're purposely setting up not anything.
Trying to get you to think too much hard about something.
Which is
I love how now we even have red herrings in trailers sometimes. They're like, see, remember that scene from the trailer? Not in there.
I think we might be foreshadowing next episode. About overanalyzing these trailers.
That's a possibility.
Anyways.
So you'll have to wait until next time to find out if we are.
Or if it's a red herring.
Until then, let's move on into soundtrack. Okay, Nick, you're up first.
All right, so trying to find a soundtrack for Foreshadowing, I had some fallbacks like Xenogears and the Premonition song, but I'm like, I want to do something different. So, loosely connected, we talked about flashbacks and stuff. There's a game called Flashback, which was actually a lot of fun, but I don't remember much about it. I played it like at my friend's house.
Which generation was it?
I think it's Sega.
Sega?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sega
Genesis?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least initially. This guy's trying to find his memories and whatever, and I figure out you're going to have to mystery foreshadowing. Close enough.
That works.
I couldn't find a good song from Overclock Remix, so I went to Dwelling of Duels, and they had a nice one remixed by New IP or New Whip. I don't know which way it's supposed to be pronounced. It's all one word.
Might be New IP.
Yeah.
Intellectual property.
Or
New Whip.
Or New Whip, like new and work in progress smashed together.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Contact us, dude. Find out. Explain your screen name to us.
The title of the remix is Hollow Cube, and it's enjoyable. I hope you enjoy it as well. We're back. That was good stuff.
I enjoyed that. It has kind of an 80s rock vibe to it almost.
I discovered I'm like, man, this is really good. I'm going to have to use this.
The more middle-aged I become, the more I feel akin to 80s music, I've noticed.
Nice.
That kind of throwback stuff. But anywho, next up, let's go to... What If? All right, so we're going to do kind of a quick round of what if here today.
We enjoy our what ifs.
We do enjoy our what ifs, and again, it's been a little while, but let's set up a scenario, Nick, and we're going to use the random noun generator.
Yes, and we're going to make a noun that will have to be an omen for something in a story. So we'll have to build a story around this omen and what it means.
Okay, so you're going to give us the random noun first, so then we'll...
Yeah, I think we'll try that way. It's like, back, like, oh no, the cat walked under the ladder. That means... Something. Well, we'll see what this means.
So we're just doing one random noun here.
Eyeliner.
That makes me feel like...
So is this some sort of... I feel like it's...
Like a story about, what's agoraphobia? What's the fear of clowns?
Isn't agoraphobia like afraid of wide spaces? Open spaces?
Maybe, I don't remember.
Okay, so where are you going with this? I'm very confused.
Well, I don't know. The eyeliner just made me think clowns immediately.
I was thinking some sort of like
more
rom-com or something.
More of a makeup thing. Okay.
But what's an omen for? Like someday...
I don't know. Just someone was traumatized by and they just associated... I don't know. They were looking more at the person's freakish eyebrows.
But what does it portend? Okay, say Susie Q. Okay, Susie Q. Jackson. That's the main character. Okay. She's walking in her house. She's early 20s. Okay, she lives in an apartment in New York City.
Okay.
She walks in and she sees this eyeliner on the table, and it's supposed to be an omen of something for her. What is it? Maybe it's an eyeliner from
her mother has come to visit unexpected.
Oh, so it's an omen that her mom has been in her apartment.
Yes.
Maybe not there right now.
She's not there right now, but she's been there.
Because her mom has used a specific type of eyeliner for her whole life.
Yes.
And she has uneasy feelings about her mother, who told her that she should not move to New York because that trying to get a gig on Broadway was just not the thing to do. And so now there's this heavy hanging that somewhere her mom's going to show up. And she changed the locks on her door.
This sounds like a Seinfeld episode. She starts really freaking out about this.
And so she's doing all this stuff, and then she's backstage getting ready, and her mom's in her changing room, and didn't I tell you that Bobby Joe came over to my house the other day, and he still has feelings for you? And that's the payoff.
That's okay.
That was actually kind of awesome.
I think that works.
All right.
So there's your story based on eyeliner as
an omen.
As an omen of foreshadowing.
Okay.
It's a good thing you didn't get eyeshadowing. Get it? For eyeshadow.
Turns out I see.
What?
I see.
I see. Yes.
Yeah. You're the teacher and I'm the pupil. Okay.
Fun times.
Fun times. So you'll give me a couple lashes for that. Okay.
Okay. So I was thinking about this earlier. Do you know why the student followed the golf pro to the driving range?
I do not.
Because he was foreshadowing.
That is wonderful. That's on par with our other jokes.
A hole?
Yep. Okay.
What's our next noun?
Level. So I'm thinking it has to be a level.
Like for
construction
work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our character is an architect.
Okay.
But he has given up architecture because his previous homes that he was building for the common man were more flammable than he remembered. And it caused some problems and insurance issues. So he left the industry, okay?
Okay. I'm giving this one to you. I don't know where you're going with this.
And he got rid of all his tools, okay? And it was one day his sink breaks. And so he needs to get the S-tube fixed, but he doesn't have one, so he has to go to the hardware store, which is a big deal. And he sees the level just in the rows. And he knows suddenly that he needs to go back to architecture because life is out of balance.
No, I don't think that's working. That's not foreshadowing. That's an inspiration.
No,
That's
okay.
That's an inciting incident.
Okay, let's back up. Okay, so he sees the but say so like this. Say it's a level and it's on level, but it doesn't show that it's level.
Mm-hmm.
So it just bugs him. He goes home, he fixes his sink and everything, and bugs him. And then the rest of the show is about him trying to get his life back. And so it was foreshadowing that he was out. No, it's symbolism. That's not even. I can't make it work. I'm done. I tried.
Let me think. Yeah, I was trying to come up with. I'm coming up with symbolism too. Like,
So no, okay.
Like I'm always picturing like you had left the level on like a windowsill or something, and then all of a sudden there's like problems in his marriage, and like you see like the little bubble in the middle just start shaking.
I never used level as symbolism, but it's actually pretty rife for being used in some sort of This Old House or a drama.
Or like things are out of balance.
Yeah, yeah. The Force is out of it's a Jedi level. It could okay. I'm going to recover it.
All right.
Okay, so he sees it at the hardware store. We're just going to go with it because I've set it up with everything. And then you mess around with it because it's old time's sake. And then the next day, like his something else breaks in his house. So he goes back and the level's gone. And he doesn't think much about it, except
his rival bought it before he did.
Maybe. Or then he was thinking about buying it because he thought it'd be helpful for fixing the thing that broke, like something like he's trying to hang up photos or something.
Oh, okay.
And he just can't get right because his house wasn't built by him. Mm-hmm. So it's not flammable, but it's not well put together either.
I forgot about the flammable thing.
And then he's thinking about buying it, and then but it's gone. And he's just curious because it was like it was like historic level or something. And then I don't know, like his rival bought it, or his girlfriend, or someone who's going to end up being his girlfriend. Okay, we're done.
I think the level.
We're not. Okay, here we go. We're done with that.
Let's do one last one to try to wrap this up.
We got to shift. These are all like abstract nouns. I'm trying to get a concrete noun because, hubcap. Hubcap. I think he's got foreshadowed like an accident.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe it's starting by the guy who's refurnishing a new car that he's poured a lot of time into, a lot of care into this really super nice car, and the last step is putting in these shiny new hubcaps that he's super proud of. And probably there's probably some like death flags as he's putting these in that the audience is like, uh-oh. It's like when you hear about the guy that's retiring, and like you have this sense of foreboding that something is about to happen to this guy.
The only thing I have left in life is finishing this car.
Yeah,
and then finally the hubcap has been on back order. He's been searching all over the place for it. He finally gets it. He puts it on, goes out for his first drive.
Horrible accident.
This is a horrible story.
Well, the final shot though is you see the hubcaps rolling down and then kind of spinning and clattering to the ground.
And then for the epilogue, that hubcap gets sent to someone else who's trying to complete his car, and then he goes out for a drive and says, "It's like a horror movie.
A cursed hubcap."
Okay, you had a good one, and I just made it
even worse,
even weirder.
Oh, let's cap that one off.
Okay, that's we're tired of that.
I think the first one. Well, you kind of set it up to be dark when you called it an Omens, but at least the first one was kind of funny.
The first one worked pretty well. The second one was too symbolic, but that was fun. I really enjoyed spinning the story of our architect who no longer works in the industry.
Yeah,
the flammable buildings.
If you can come up with a better way of use a level and foreshadowing, folks, please let us know, because
next time when you use, I just came up with puffin. So next time when we do this, we'll have to use puffin as an omen.
There you go.
Like albatross in what is that poem? Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. The albatross is an omen.
Yeah,
anyways,
there you go.
Yep.
The omen puffin.
Omen puffin. The puffin walks under the ladder, and you're like, oh no, I have 7 years of bad luck.
Do you remember?
To get rid of it, you have to throw a puffin over your shoulder.
What's the? Oh no, that's a Mina bird. The Looney Tunes cartoon where there's that one little bird that like just kind of ambles along and does this goofy little like.
I don't know if I remember that.
Oh, it's this thing that my grandmother used to say that I used to giggle as a little baby. Like this goofy little Mina bird with this walk, and I think part of the joke in the Looney Tunes thing was that like it was just one little bird, but nothing could touch it. It was sort of like the Roadrunner, except it was way more meek than Roadrunner was.
Okay.
Anyway, that's side tangent.
So if a puffin shows up in your dream, what does it mean?
Run away.
Run away. Okay.
Don't mess with that.
Don't mess
thing.
with that puffin.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now for our next segment. It came from the interwebs. It's been a while since we've done a good interwebs thing. This will not be quite as crazy of a find from
As Jim
the
Carrey's
interwebs.
website.
No,
Maybe the craziest we ever did.
Probably no. I thought it might be interesting to get a little more techie this time around.
Ooh, techie.
And talk about the upcoming Disney Plus, because I think it's going to have a pretty profound impact on entertainment industry.
As long as they stop just remaking their old stuff.
Well, yes, and I think we'll touch on that.
Okay.
But
So hit me with it, Tim.
okay, well, see, today Disney unveiled a lot of stuff for their investors.
We're recording mid-April.
Mid-April, yes. And so they unveiled a lot of stuff, so I thought it'd be fun to just kind of go through the Twitter feed of... they didn't stream it for everyone, but some people basically put summaries up.
Okay. Lead me through this, Tim.
All right. So one of the things they did mention is that in addition to being an independent package, they may also offer compilation deals with like their ESPN streaming and Hulu.
So basically we're getting cable back.
In a weird way, yeah. Except you get to choose. Have you heard about like cable slinging packages? There's a thing that's actually called Sling.
Oh,
and
okay,
then,
yes.
And then YouTube TV works on a similar way where you can basically, it's like a cable package, but it's also more like an internet DVR.
More customizable.
More customizable. You can record pretty much everything indefinitely.
Okay.
At least I think it's indefinite.
So man, between Hulu and Disney, Netflix is going to have a rough...
Yes, well, yeah, especially with what they've been announcing here. So let me go through some of this.
Wait, go back there. So wait, okay, I know Disney had Disney and Pixar and Marvel and Star Wars. They have National Geographic?
Yeah, I was not aware. They just kind of picked that up when no one was paying attention, I guess.
Weird. Okay. I guess, I mean, they've always done those like Planet Earth sort of movies, so maybe they did it during that time.
Fit into that wheelhouse somehow, I guess.
They're like, oh, look, we're Marvel.
Yeah, they have a lot. They talk about how they're going to bring all their theatrical stuff.
They're talking about how they're going to buy the world.
Obvious, yeah. Okay, so here's your first look at the screen for Disney Plus.
Like you can actually pick those different categories.
Yeah, like I think it's, so they've got your like ad for like, oh, here, we got Frozen, or...
Because in case you haven't watched it yet.
But then right below that, they have
all parents are like, don't put that on the front page.
But then they have all the tabs for specifically Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic.
One of these things does not look like the other.
I wonder if these are even scroll through, like next you'll go to like Fox stuff.
I suppose you go get all the documentaries in National Geographic. I mean, it's a nice change from the rest of them.
Yeah, but I mean, it just goes to show you like these are the big hitters. And then very much below it, it looks very much like what you would see on Netflix and Hulu, those kind of thumbnails.
Yeah.
So,
man, the problem with them owning the world is that I have to get Disney Plus now.
Well, yeah, see, and this is the thing that it looks so good and it's scary. Yeah. Like you have an entire section just for Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean,
and apparently one of their new shows, the very first Star Wars live action show,
is a Boba Fett.
Well, it's a Mandalorian, yeah, which I don't care about Boba Fett, but they have said that it will be available day one.
Oh man, yeah.
See, I mean, like you're hooked already.
See, the problem is,
how can you not do this?
Here's the thing: when they bought Star Wars, and they bought it for $1 bazillion, what they were buying was not so much the movie rights, but nostalgia. Like you can make anything, and some people are going to go see it because it says Star Wars,
right? And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about because it's like it's cool, but it's also slightly terrifying because like it's definitely one of the. I mean, between not just Disney stuff is cool, they've been firing on better cylinders with at least their original animated movies. Not so much their live action, but their original stuff.
But yeah.
Their Pixar is awesome.
Well, Pixar, yeah. I mean, Pixar needs to do less sequels, more originals, but whatever.
But still, Star Wars, and then you've got Star Wars, all this cool stuff in one place.
Here's the thing. Like, the nice thing about Netflix is that it gives possibilities for things that would not get made to get made. You know, movies, series. I mean, I don't know if I've talked about it here, but like
And maybe some things that shouldn't be made.
well, that's possible too. But like the Netflix version of Lemony Snicket was great. You never make a movie that's never getting on cable TV. I mean, it's just weird. But I guess my question then was Star Wars or like Disney, are they going to just build up all these boxes they have, or will it free them up to finally do not rehashing things?
Well,
I think that's my curious.
They did announce a few original things,
Okay.
so we'll get to that here in a little bit. But anyway, this is the Star Wars section. The fact that there is a Star Wars section that's and the Mandalorian is not the only new upcoming Star Wars.
I've heard there's others, but I don't remember what they are.
I think there's one. I don't remember. We'll get to that now or later in this feed. But there's one based off the Hispanic guy from the Rebel One.
Oh, okay.
Is that what it's called?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Thank you. That sounded wrong as soon as I said it. Rogue One. That guy and his robot.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
So
Oh, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a TV show?
yes, they've announced several new miniseries. I feel
Okay.
like with the original actors,
Which
from
is
the
cool. This is super
MCU.
cool.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty neat. So yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I heard Hawkeye's getting his own.
I heard rumors that they did not show that, so that might be pretty early in the process.
Okay.
Of course, they're looking to get it on all the different
Oh,
platforms.
well, yeah. Now, are all Disney vaulted stuff going to be there?
I think so.
Because I need my. Well, I have a physical copy, so I don't actually need it. But I need my copy of Three Caballeros. Because that movie is amazing.
Well, they haven't announced this here, but I have seen footage of a new Three Caballeros TV show. Like, you can find this on YouTube that is apparently has already premiered in other places, and the theory is that it's going to be on Disney Plus.
But the problem is you add too much structure and it's not Three Caballeros anymore. Part of the wonder of Three Caballeros.
It makes it better, Nick.
No, Three Caballeros is a work of art. No, I'm serious. Like, I can listen to parts of that music. The music is amazing. The animation's wonderful. It's creative. It's a little trippy at the end. Like, you should probably be on some LSD or something. But
It's also boring.
no, it's not. It's awesome. It's fabulous. Except for that one song about By Ear. That song is boring.
I think this is one you just had to grow up with.
My Rennie, for a long time, she loved it. She watched it over and over again. Now, I've not watched the other one that came with my disc, which is like the other
another one of the compilation things.
well, not compilation, but it was like the other around there. Like
Saludos Amigos.
yes, I've not watched that one.
Like basically when Disney was trying to market South America.
I'm pretty sure that it's not as good as Three Caballeros because Three Caballeros is awesome. Anyways, moving on.
I think it's supposed to be in there. I know they're supposed to put in a lot of their old vaulted movies.
I think that's good.
I mean, this picture shows a bunch that are from vaulted, though this is just a summary. I know all the Pixar movies will be on there.
Nice.
There's some new Pixar shorts. Some of them will be a tie-in with Toy Story 4, which makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're gonna.
Oh, wait. I want to lay this one on you. So another of the series is going to be about Scarlet Witch and Vision.
Okay, that's
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What do you think it's going to be called?
Scarlet Vision. No, Scarlet Witch and Vision.
WandaVision. That's literally.
WandaVision.
I want to watch some television. No, let's watch some WandaVision.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Wanda, this feels like some sort of like bad '90s commercial.
I think it's hilarious.
The WandaVision.
I think
now, is it like a sitcom? Is like them trying to live at home, like raise a family?
I hope so.
That would actually kind of be awesome. Like, here's the thing. They really need to just do all these different. If they're going to like just mark the bejeebers out of Star Wars and Marvel, like let's do lots of genres. Let's do lots of styles.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Another one that they've announced is an animated thing that's basically an anthology series of what ifs.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like Marvel What If.
I can do that.
One of the ones they suggested was what if Peggy Carter took the truth serum, or not truth serum, the super serum stuff.
Nice.
So
I could deal with that.
That would be pretty cool. Sounds like they're going to do a lot of new behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
Which
Yeah.
again, this is one thing that's a potential downside. I feel like to the whole Google Plus thing. We're basically getting what used to be DVD extras as part of a service.
Yeah. They want you to go to the service.
Yeah, and Disney has been kind of inching away from home media for a long time. I've said this before in regards to like the Muppet Show, or Phineas and Ferb.
Now, could Muppets have a new life on this?
It's been hoped for. There's even been some rumors, but nothing's confirmed yet, even after today.
Okay.
So hopefully it's in the works. I I've seen Matt Vogel.
Maybe we could just put all the original Muppet Show on for you.
Yeah, possibly. But I imagine that there's the same problem there as it is with the home video
DVDs,
stuff,
yeah.
all the music rights. Okay, there's Kathleen Kennedy talking about all the movies that are going to be on there. Of course, that's about that show I just mentioned. Mandalorian will be available.
Man, if I was 16 and that was coming on, I would have done anything to watch this show.
I don't think, is it Boba Fett?
I don't know.
Or is it someone else?
Cyril, look, we are recording.
Mandalorians are awesome.
If we were back at your place, we would be recording right next to a Mandalorian.
That's true. That is true.
That is not actually made up, guys.
It's on loan from Nick, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of the live action movies are saying they're going to be on there, which I hope it's all of them. I'd love to see like all their super old, like vintage stuff.
See,
like,
that's what
I'm almost more excited about some of the old stuff that should be on there than new stuff.
That's one of my pet peeves about Netflix is that you can't get old stuff. Because when you had the discs back in the day, you get all the old stuff, but now you can't.
It's hard to find.
Like if I want to watch some Hitchcock or something.
Yeah. They don't highlight that a lot in this, although I do notice that Treasure Island, the original Treasure Island from 1950, which is important. That's the very first Disney live action movie. So I'm hoping that what they're saying is that all of them are on.
That'd be good.
There. So,
what is Noelle?
So this is a new one that they're talking about, which is being made specifically for Disney Plus.
Okay.
It's a story about Santa's daughter, so I imagine it's going to come out.
I was interested in, because so far, like, okay, you're making more Star Wars stuff and more stuff, which I'm not against, but it's like, are we going to see original just stories?
Yeah, and so apparently there's a few. There's that one. There's this thing called Timmy Failure, which I protest the name a little bit. But
we're going to need another Timmy. That's from you ever seen the dinosaurs? Jim Henson thing?
Oh, no, not really. So that sounds like an original thing. I don't think it's based on anything. It's about an 11-year-old boy who believes he's the best detective in town and runs the agency Total Failure, Inc., with his partner, a 12,000-pound imaginary polar bear.
No, 1,200 pounds.
Oh, 1,200
12,000 would be... He's not fitting in any rooms.
Yeah. But they are still doing their own live action stuff, like a live action Lady of the Tramp.
Yeah, because things with mainly animals should be made live action.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple new stuff. Some of their old. Then they talk about National Geographic. Jeff Goldblum of all people is going to have a National Geographic show.
Okay. Well, I remember didn't the Monty Python people go? Eric Idle went around the world doing some nature.
Yeah. Comedians are a good fit for that kind of stuff. Oh, and there's going to be a new Phineas and Ferb movie.
Oh, nice.
And they did say, okay, so get this. Over 5,000 episodes of Disney Channel original movies will be, or Disney Channel shows.
Hopefully the ones I want to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of garbage Disney Channel stuff. Okay, check out this. In the first year of Disney Plus, they're saying they're going to have over 25 new series, 10
crazy.
movies. Now, as far as TV shows, 7,500 past episodes from on and off air. Now, I'm hoping that includes like Disney afternoon stuff.
Yeah.
Again,
that'd be cool.
Wanting to do old stuff. I want to see all the old stuff on there. As far as movies, over 100 recent titles and over 400 from the Disney library.
Nice.
And probably also the Fox library, because they didn't show like The Sound of Music at some point as like a thumbnail.
Okay.
Oh, and The Simpsons. Okay.
Woohoo!
I have to...
Wait, no, I gotta say that better. Woohoo! Welcome Synergy.
There's a great video here. I'll come back to the video here in a minute. But so it launches November 12th, the day after my birthday, actually.
Nice. Dirt cheap too.
Yes,
to get people. I'm sure it'll raise after, but
probably. But it's like half the cost of Netflix right now. Netflix should be worried.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix is making buco money, but they ain't Disney.
No. So here, I mean, on one hand, obviously it's going to be great to see all those things, but yeah, I just get there's just something uneasy about Disney owning so much stuff.
Yeah.
And that you have the back library is almost as interesting because you can't get half that stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's cool.
Yeah, that stuff I'm more interested in the new stuff. But at the same time, it is worrying about the idea of, because so CBS has their exclusive channel thing now where they got Star Trek and Twilight Zone.
I mean, eventually everything's going to be online and you have to just pick what channels you want.
Yeah, which it's
going to happen.
It's going to happen. And I see pluses and minuses about it. On the plus side, I think better consumer choice is certainly better than what we used to get with like the cable package shows, which would give you all kinds of stuff that you really had no interest in.
Yeah.
The downside is I see a lot more networks and companies in general moving away from physical media, which I find problematic because say I want to just watch what, like the other day, I was over at my parents' place because my grandma likes to have someone at home if the parents are going to be gone for a while. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to bring over season 2 of MacGyver because my grandmother used to really enjoy MacGyver, and I love MacGyver. And my folks don't have super great internet connection out there, so we have to be very limited in what we stream over there. So it was nice to be able to take my DVD, bring it over there, stick it in, and play it. And that's a show that I enjoyed, so that's one reason why I own it.
Yeah,
you can't necessarily count on a show's staying on Netflix forever. In fact, oftentimes they have gone.
And luckily, Netflix, I think that you can still download certain things.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
not when it leaves. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But
it's still a temporary thing. Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about physical media is that once you buy it, you own it. You own it. You can play it whenever.
As opposed to
it's
constantly every month
you.
having to pay.
Right.
And is it going to still be there? And I think, again, this is just my own. But you're going to get all these things that everyone's going to have the buzz about this show, that show, and you're going to have to go find. And I guess it's always been kind of like that. Mm-hmm. But now everyone's going to feel compelled to watch 10,000 things from 5 different networks.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing is you can choose to do these things a little bit at a time. Like I've sometimes picked up Hulu for like a couple months,
and just
to catch up on the show, and then you're done with it, and it's not terribly different from when you used to, in terms of cost. It's not that much different from when you used to rent a movie.
That's true.
But I mean, it's a different kind of experience.
It'll be a strange transition, I think. I mean, obviously from a creator's point of view, you have all these options to make shows that would never have been made otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's super cool.
And I do think Netflix will continue to have an audience. And I understand that recently the Criterion, who does the Criterion Collection, they recently launched their own,
which I think is good because you need
some place to have that's for like real cinema people.
Because honestly, I mean, the old Disney stuff, but there's a lot of that stuff that's very genre, but it's not that sort of the cinema stuff. Like, are we going to is the artsy movies going to just fall through the cracks? There's some of that stuff that I don't watch a ton of that stuff, but I want to be able to watch it when
you want to. Yeah. I mean, that's one reason why I sometimes will still. This is not an artsy movie by any means, but my dad and I have been slowly going through the Fast and Furious series, which we had never seen. We didn't really follow those movies as they came out. But I always go to Family Video to check those out because it's like I want to have a store someplace where when I want a very specific movie, I can go to that place and pick it up.
And I think that's the thing that will be most hurt will be the specific things. Mm-hmm. In general, it'll be more for people. But it's those niche things that will be even harder to get into the hands of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Things just keep changing. And there's a lot of benefits, but I guess I'm kind of a curmudgeon. I'm always a little just like,
yeah.
But that's more my personality.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to stop. I mean,
it's going to keep.
I'm totally planning to pick it up.
I'm going to have to
absolutely.
Get it. Yeah.
I've seen may even do like the annual thing because it's like $7 for the month or $70 for the year.
So you just get 2 months free.
Yeah, basically.
They need to have one of these for like $2 a month and it's just like all like horrible B movies. I think that would be awesome.
Well,
and you could just watch like.
Okay, well, you've already got. What was that? There's that one streaming channel thing that's got like a Riff Tracks channel.
Well, I know, but you can't pick it when you want to watch them. It's live TV.
Yeah, that's true.
Or internet TV.
I mean, an internet TV of all Riff Tracks movies is actually a pretty awesome thing.
It is pretty awesome.
I don't remember the name of the site, but if you're into Riff Tracks, go.
Pluto.
Is it Pluto?
I think so. Pluto TV. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, go check it out.
I don't use it as often as I should, but it's fun. All right. Anyway, let's wrap this up.
Thank you for listening to Derailed Trains of Thoughts, episode 98. Can you believe it, Nick? Think about it, Nick. We are that much closer to episode 100.
Yeah, and that much closer to episode 150.
Well, yeah, but that's... You were such a weirdo tonight. Okay. Sorry, folks. Be sure to check out all our episodes on iTunes or Apple Podcasts and Stitcher.
And check out our sister podcast, Weekly Hijack,
where we're going through Babylon 5.
And follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
And be on the lookout. Let us know some things you might like to see in episode 100.
100, which will probably be special, but maybe will just be a normal episode.
Yeah. The podcast sometimes has different ideas than we
don't know what the
podcast
might do.
Yeah. So stay tuned.
So,
just to foreshadow that a little bit.
Maybe we go somewhere else than this beach, it's obviously not good for my mental health.
Yeah, and those kids down the road, they just left running and crying.
No, yeah,
so
but they're with that nice looking banker, so they should be fine.
I guess so.
Yeah, bankers are always trustworthy.
Well, to lighten the mood here a little bit,
Okay,
after
that's
our dark what if and the ominous Disney Plus on the horizon.
What does that foreshadow?
Who knows? That's an excellent question. But to pick out a soundtrack, I just did a search for Shadows on OC Remix. And of all things, I landed on a song from the game Maui Mallard and Cold Shadow.
This remix is fabulous.
Yeah, this is a great mix. The game has a weird name, and even if I explained it, which I'm not going to try to here, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But anyway, the remix is called Dance Like Popcorn, and it's a very fitting song for a very, very fun, catchy dance number. And this is remixed by Geefrog.
Gooey Frog, I think.
Is it Gooey Frog? Well, I noticed the guy's name is Spanish. So
maybe it's not. I guess I always just thought it was Gooey Frog.
I mean, it looks Gooey Frog sounds better, but I think Gee Frog might be more.
It may be true.
More accurate. I don't know.
You can meet up with New Whip and they can argue how they pronounce their names.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, hope you enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and thanks again for listening. Until next time, this is Tim.
This is Nick.
Bye bye.
Adios.